Hi, thanks for watching Breaking New Ground, where we look at housing and how it affects you. I'm Eric Mieni. Over the last few episodes, we looked at three main housing issues: spatial planning today and under apartheid, the large number of people who are moving into big cities at increasing rates, and the need to build integrated human settlements where people can live, be near their workplaces, take their children to school, and have easy access to health care. But when most people talk about government houses, they automatically think of the low-income kind of house that the government built under the Reconstruction and Development Plan, RDP. But there are other options that the government provides in terms of houses. Over the next few episodes, we'll look at these options, starting with RDP housing. Today we are here in Alexander Township in Gauteng to kick off this section of the series.
11 February 1990. Millions of South Africans watched on television as the release of Nelson Mandela triggered a new democratic future for our citizens. The mood was positive, and for those living in dire conditions, the dream of owning a home could finally be a reality. Thandi Zwane was born and lived in Alexandra for 53 years. 15 years ago, she applied for an RDP home. It's been a long wait.
Yes, well, one needs to understand that in 1994, the democratic government actually inherited a huge backlog. The apartheid government had, in essence, stopped building housing at scale in the 1970s. So there was this huge pent-up demand. And so right from the beginning, government was in the situation where it needed to deliver housing fast. It couldn't possibly make everyone happy immediately.
Then benginomntana oshadile mevakashile fanele mina ngehle embhedeni umntana amalale phansi ngoba benomntana omncane aros bekumnandi imvula bengangeni akuse ama-light beyakhona nawo just bengana stove ungananisimhla ngeprama stove bekukahle ukuhlala la.
Three or 4 years into the process, South Africa started to deliver at a rate which was in line with the targets that had been set by government, and which was a rate which was unequaled by just about anywhere else in the world.
In 1994, umbuso mawufika ebantwini abamnyama ngizwa ukuthi ngathola ukujabula ukuthi umuntu uthola izindlu nabantwana bazofunda free education ngacabanga into ezinjengalezo ukuthi izizenzakala yilezo. Ngo-1996 ngeza la 18 ngizobhalisa indlu ngiqala ukubhalisa so bafuna i-ID iticket zabantwana so into lezo ngabanikeza basinika iform ngafila iform la ngifika khona bangincedisa bese bethi-ke bakhiphe indawo eziyi-4 la ngizokhetha ukuhlala khona bakhiphe i-Alexander nethembisa neSoweto neDieping ngakhetha i-Alexander nethembisa so kwenzeka ngazoyithola-ke la e-Alexander bangifikile basibathela namhlanje somhlangenzile.
So it took time to actually design a policy framework which would allow rapid delivery. It took time to implement that. But within 2 or 3 years after 1994, which is quite fast actually, the country started to deliver at rates which were in line with the targets that it had set itself. But of course this still wasn't fast enough given the scale of the delivery, given the fact that also we have a population that is growing quite fast. There's a lot of in-migration from other parts of Southern Africa. And also we have lots of new household formation. So it's been difficult to keep up with the rate that it's not just about meeting the backlogs, it's also about dealing with new household formation.
Over the last 13 years, millions of South Africans have moved into their new RDP houses, formed communities, and found stability. Some had to wait longer than others.
Lana se RDP extension 7 endlini ezintsha ze-RDP lana safika ngafika nge-2 zaka February 2007 bengijabule kakhulu ngathola ifoni ngoLesine bathi Friday sathutha nge-2 so bengijabule kakhulu ngizothola indlu entsha sathi masifika lana ke ngoba nganginemali ke ngathenga ikhekhe ngathenga ama-cold drinks aphuza kwaba mnandi sesifike la 187 la saba khona manje.
I think one of the things that we've struggled with in the housing delivery process is that it's not always the right people that get access to housing. With people who are on waiting lists, but inevitably what happens is that where projects are developed in, for example, a section of Soweto or in Cato Manor or wherever, the local communities place a great deal of pressure on the project developers to include people from the local area. And so inevitably people who are on the waiting list tend to get shifted back because of the way the politics plays out.
Indiyam lena engathola ngo-2007 ngoFebruary. So ngajabula ukuthola le ndlu lena ngoba inkulu, inama-bedroom ayi-2, ine-bathroom, ine-dining room, ine-kitchen. Umndeni wami manje sesihlala kahle kuyo noma bavakashile abantwana bami silala kahle. Futhi impilo miyatshintsha ngoba le bengekho right mangilini ngangumnyama nginjani ngivela izinto ngoba ngangihlala ngichinekile ngafika la ngaba free so ngaba right sengidayisa nama-ice ngidayisela abantwana.
It's become part of people's consciousness that ownership is something which is tied to rights and it's tied to the change of apartheid society. And to the extent that people suffered indignity in the apartheid period, so ownership is linked with restoration of dignity.
Welcome back and thanks for watching Breaking New Ground. We have come to this impressive Alexander Children's Library, one of 3 libraries in the area actually, to talk about RDP houses, the advantages of owning them, the problems that come with delivering them, and what the government is doing to sort those out. With us today to share their knowledge are Mr. Mnyani Mongezi, who is the Chief Operating Officer of the Gauteng Department of Housing. Welcome.
Thank you.
We have Benito Likalakala, who's the Chairperson of the Greater Alexander Development Forum. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We have Antandi Zwane, who we just saw in the insert. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We also have Julian Baskin, who is the head of the Alexander Renewal Project. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Just to kick off, Mongezi, what is the state of delivery in terms of housing countrywide right now?
Countrywide, we've just reached the 2 million mark last year in September, and we are continuing to deliver. And here in Gauteng, we've just reached a 600,000 mark, contributing to that 2 million mark that National has. But we still have a huge backlog that we're facing.
Julian, how is the picture looking in Alexander?
Well, Alexandra has approximately 400,000 people within it, 80% of which live within Old Alexandra, which is an area of 1 square mile, which in essence means people are living at a density of 770 people per hectare. So what does this mean? It means that if one looks at all the different housing needs within Alexandra, the backlog as calculated when the project started in 2001 was put at around 45,000 units. How have we done relative to that backlog? Well, some 8,500 households have been relocated out of Alex, principally out of the Itzke River floodlines, into new housing projects outside of the greater Alex area. Some 3,000 housing units of different types have been built within Alexandra, and currently we have some 6,000 housing units under construction.
Okay, well, I mean, to me, that would look quite impressive, but you're on the ground working with the community. Do you think this delivery speed is pretty good by your estimation?
Yes, as the community, we are impressed with the speed at which delivery is taking place. However, we have always engaged the ARP, and we've told them that if things were done differently, we could have seen a more increased speed in the delivery of housing.
And when you say differently, what do you mean?
I mean, we've suggested things like block-by-block approach, where a block is demolished, redeveloped, people are moved in there, we go to the next block. That would expedite the delivery, because if to redevelop an area that is already occupied is difficult.
Why aren't you using that approach, Julian?
We have started adopting a block-by-block approach. However, the first blocks that we are adopting are where people are living in either dangerous situations or in situations that fundamentally undermine the social fabric of Alexandra. Thus, for example, in Extension 7 at the moment, we're relocating people out of the schoolyards of the Efferting school cluster. We have something like 1,200 shacks within the school grounds that clearly need to be relocated so that we can come back and upgrade those school grounds.
Monges, RDP houses have a bad rap. You know, people talk about them being too small, of a bad quality when completed, often built in far-flung areas, almost exacerbating the apartheid era type of allocation in terms of housing spaces for especially black people. How is the BNG strategy addressing that?
Since 1994, we've learned that, if you build a house, it must be of quality. If you build a house, it must be of an asset, because you're giving an asset to somebody else. But again,
why did you think it was before?
I think before it was about numbers. Government was rushing numbers. There was an issue of about 1 million houses per year. Hence, we are very strict about what we put on the ground, but we've got those processes in place. For instance, what we do, we've set up protocols whereby we've got NHBRC inspectors, we've got the departmental inspectors, we've got the municipal inspectors. So all those three units, they work together. So each and every house, before an owner or beneficiary moves in, it should be inspected by the three. All of them are using the various standards, but we agree on certain processes. For instance, whenever a beneficiary has to move in, the municipality must issue out an occupancy certificate. An occupancy certificate will never be issued out if there are still some snags, if there's still some problems in that house. NHBRC will come in at any stage of the building process to inspect whether I would adhering to the norms and standards, I would adhering to the building manual. All contractors have a building manual. They know exactly how to follow, what to do at what stage.
Benito, for me it sounds like good policies are in place. Is it really happening that way on the ground?
Yes, indeed it is happening. However, you would from time to time find some unscrupulous individuals, but as processes are in place, that is taken care of.
Julian, will I be correct in saying that the Alexandra Renewal Project is an implementation arm of what the government is trying to do?
Yes, the Alexandra Renewal Project is really a project office that adopts project management principles to bring together all the diverse factors of government into one coherent strategy. So government isn't something that happens in different floors, different departments, in different ministries, but comes together as one project office to implement the Alexandra Renewal Project. So I think what really does define the Alexandra Renewal Project is the structures that link government to the communities, but also the fact that we have staff that monitor projects on a day-by-day basis and are able to track problems as they emerge.
Just to give background, obviously Cosmo cities where some houses were not up to scratch, things were falling off, people were complaining. What's your take on that? What's been done to correct that?
Well, we have corrected the situation in Cosmo City. It was an unfortunate situation, but it's more about consumer education, where people must know their rights and responsibilities. So what happens is that you move into the house, the first 3 months, the developer or the contractor is still obliged to come back and fix whatever that we've identified as a beneficiary. So I think it was more on education, on information to say, beneficiaries, you have now moved into these houses, but this is what we're entitled to. And I think people didn't have that information. The second thing is that all those houses have got a warranty from NHBRC for 5 years. So anything that will happen in the next 5 years, the developer will still come back and NHBRC will be there to assist.
This, I would assume, applies to RDP houses as well, Julian?
Yes, it does. What one really has to appreciate is that we're building houses at some sort of scale. We have very tight budgets. And what we're really trying to do is produce the best quality house we can that meets the needs of the beneficiaries. And that is often quite a difficult thing to achieve. From time to time, if we evaluate what's happening, we discover, for example, because we're building at much higher densities, and that this has an impact on stormwater, we're then able to go back to the department at an early stage and say to the department, because of what we're doing in Alexandra, because we're trying to densify and create housing in a more compact way, this is having a knock-on effect on stormwater, which then might require additional funding so that we can resolve these problems. The point being is that we keep a constant dialogue with the department and the project. And so we're able to monitor problems as they emerge, but also go to the department, engage with the department, and find immediate solutions to those problems.
Are communities getting more and more educated around these issues? Are you guys, for instance, involved in doing that, in educating communities?
We have monthly general meetings where affiliated organizations are invited to a meeting. We engage with these issues, and we have started an outreach, community outreach project, which would be to recruit more affiliates into the organization to educate them about the renewal project and associated problems.
We're going to take a short break and show you what people are doing to enhance the quality of their RDP houses. And when we come back, Antandi will pose some questions to our panelists.
A house with a small basin, a black one, and then with a toilet. Then Ronara Kenya, the carpet inside, the toilet stuff and everything, tiles and whatever you see around. A lot of things that we put in this house. Around me. That's why I felt for kitchen and then really great stuff around me. That's why kitchen is it look beautiful. It be like different or my own style and everything. Space, ne? We had to put like the tiles, with this own just for the sun and then to cover rain on this door. Okay, and then if this one kitchen, we had to kitchen, be like the plates, and then we do komikizarona, and then I chose this color. It's a different color, and I like it. This is my stove. I had to give a stove for relax it into Zaka and this is my microwave, and this is my display. You can see my glasses and everything. When we got here, it was actually one basin here. Then we supposed to put this, the toilet, the mirror, the tiles on the wall, everything that you see here. It's actually our own thing. The geyser, everything that you see here. The tiles on the floor. We just only got the basin on, then everything is all our stuff. This one, it's a big one. And then one I can put my shoes. Then in this one I can put my underwear. It's so different. It looks gorgeous compared to like bedding it's a melanali curtain rail with the curtain. It looks nice. Okay, I feel great taking into the around na ke rata dilo tse dintle around na gore go phela go look at different and unique. Yeah, that's why it gains the changes go continue. It's because I like nice things. I feel great.
Welcome back. Once again, thank you for watching Breaking New Ground. It is absolutely amazing what you can do to enhance the quality of your RDP house. Benito, some people have been known not to care much for the RDP houses. Is the Great Alexander Development Forum doing anything about that, if it is true?
Yes, indeed, it is true. Some people aren't taking good care of their houses, but this must be understood in its proper context. You should remember that many of the owners now did not have houses that they own. They rented houses. They do not as yet appreciate the value of ownership. So what we're trying to do is to educate people about the value of ownership, how they should look after their properties. In the long run, people would then begin to appreciate the value of owning that property and therefore taking good care of that property.
Yes, I think one has to draw a distinction here between two groupings of people in a broad sense. The first grouping of people who simply haven't got a house because they never had an opportunity of getting a house. And the RDP house then provides that opportunity. You find in the main people seize that opportunity and will almost immediately start to consolidate their houses. However, the other group are those people who are real hardcore poor, people who are simply unemployed, who somehow have all the problems of being unemployed, but somehow then get access to a house. It's very hard for those people to take that forward. And that's something we really need to be dealing with. What happens to an unemployed person who gets given a house? As it stands, they get help from the state in terms of a lifeline tariff with regards to water and electricity. But when it comes to repainting, upgrading, clearly they're not in a position to do that.
Antali, angithi nombuzo for ama-panelists namhlanje oqala uthini?
Umbuzo wami wokuqala bengicela ukubuza ukuthi ikolo bazisakhele nini ikolo lapha kule ndawo school extension 7.
With regards to the Alexandra Renewal Project, what we really have to understand is that within Alexandra, we have a fixed population. What we are doing in Alexandra is relocating people from one space within Alexandra to another space within Alexandra. Most of the children are already at schools within Alexandra. Extension 7, when we get the critical mass, we have a school planned right next door to Extension 7. We've already done the access pedestrian bridges across to access that school. But the critical number of students required to make the school happen will only happen when we start the housing projects on the other side of the Yitske River. So certainly a school will be coming to serve the children of Extension 7 when we have enough children in that area to justify the construction of that site. And I would imagine within 18 months we will start the construction of that school.
Umbuzo wesibili.
Umbuzo wami wesibili bengicela ukuthi ubuze ukuthi amaphepha lawo asho ukuthi manje indlu sekweyo yakho ukuthi wona sawathola nini.
Ene kanjani futhi?
Ene kanjani futhi?
You know, ownership is one of the most critical things that government is promoting in terms of home ownership, especially to the disadvantaged communities. But again, this becomes a process. You know, now that she has moved into the house, she has signed the happy letter, which says, I'm happy that I'm in this house, and we've got that happy letter. Now, what we're doing, because we're talking about an established township, which is the entire Extension 7. So there is a process now within the council of lodging all the papers with the Surveyor General's office so that we can be able to get those title deeds. But we hope, therefore, that before the end of this year, all those people will actually get their title deeds, because we want to give them the title deeds so that a person can go to the bank and be able to borrow money and have that title deed as a guarantee to the bank. Because that's what we want to do.
Umbuzo wesithathu.
Umbuzo wesithathu bengicela ukubuza ukuthi singakhama ibonda ngeyitina na singazakhele nje ubonda ngeyitina.
Kuphi ma?
Khona extension 7.
Phakathi endlini noma
ngaphandle?
Ngaphandle. Ibonda la.
Ibonda nje uthi kube negate. Ibonda nje
el surrounda in.
Surrounda in.
Okay.
She is allowed to do that, but it needs to be done in a proper way. Because, you know, in all these houses we've got what's called the pegs. You know, it's a technical language whereby you must know where your boundary wall starts, where does it end. We've had similar situation around the province and around the country where one neighbor will come and complain and say, my neighbor has built a wall next to my house, and it's not supposed to be like that. So we'll advise all our beneficiaries to contact the local office so that at least we do the proper application, and then also it's done proper on the plan, because we must go back and look at the plans exactly to say how many square meters, where it's supposed to start, where it's supposed to end, so that we do the proper thing.
I think Mongezi raises the key point, that being that the whole objective is to try and formalize the housing market, formalize urban areas. What we don't want is people just to build walls and then discover that they interfered with stormwater lines, interfered with the rights of their neighbors. Also often building walls that simply don't have the structural integrity required when there are heavy storms, etc.
Mina into bengifuna ukubuza ukuthi njengoba usunale ndlu ikusasa lakho libona kanjani?
Nabona isasa lami liqhakazile kakhulu futhi.
Sibonge ukuthi ube nathi namhlanje ma. Yeah, and to you gentlemen, thank you very much for coming to the show. We hope that you have a better understanding of RDP housing, the problems and benefits that come with it, and that as government speeds up delivery, you'll be more patient as you wait for yours. Please join again next week when we look at social housing and how it impacts on our society. Once again, thanks for watching Breaking New Ground.